How do you return to society after going to prison? That's a question that a lot more people than you might think have to answer, or rather, try to answer. Having the label as ex-convict hang over your shoulder for the rest of your life is something that makes supporting yourself more difficult than it should be. There's an easy fix to this issue, though. It comes in the form of programs designed to make a prison sentence an opportunity to better a person, or rehabilitation programs. Sadly, not so many prisons offer these kinds of programs because of lack of care or knowledge in what they are and how they can be done. More prisons should offer rehabilitation programs so ex-convicts can become productive members in society, rather than returning to crime or living in poverty from an inability to reconnect with the world. To prove to you that this is something prisons absolutely need, I'll begin by presenting the problems ex-convicts face following their sentence, then how these issues arose in the first place, as well as why rehabilitation programs are the answer to this issue. So, right now you're probably thinking, why should I care about criminals? They're dangerous and I don't want them near me. Those thoughts you may or may not be having are the same ones employers have and expressed by not hiring ex-convicts. Those thoughts are usually factually incorrect too. According to the FBI's 2017 crime statistics, 15% of all arrests were related to simple substance abuse. Another 30% fall into the category of all other offenses, which include acts like trespassing, loitering, or bribery. These aren't necessarily good things, but they don't make the 3.8 million people who were convicted of these crimes dangerous. Yet, after serving their sentences, many of them are unable to return to their jobs or find new work because of their criminal record. An article by criminal justice reformer Jeremiah Misteller notes that 80% of people who were convicted and served their time are rearrested in the future. Many of these criminals are people with mental health issues or serious addictions who couldn't get the health care that they needed to stop themselves. The prison system works against the people and creates more criminals than less because of the failed ways in which people are incarcerated. So, how exactly did the criminal justice system get this way? The Sentencing Project, an organization devoted to educating the public on mass incarceration, notes that from the 1920s until the 1970s, there was a steady increase in the population of prisons, consistent with that of the growing population in the United States. But somewhere after the 1970s, prison populations began to skyrocket. Now, this wasn't because of an increase in crime rates. This was because of an increase in the length of sentences. Did you know that 1 in 9 people who are in prison are serving lifelong sentences? Yeah, me neither. Many crime statistics aren't exactly public knowledge, and that could be because of an estimated 13 to 70% of crimes are victimless. Events like the war on drugs in the 1980s resulted in mass arrests that previously weren't so important to prisons, and those who suffered from substance abuse never received the right treatment for their addictions. The criminal justice system had become a cycle of arresting more and more people who have to resort to crime again once they are freed because they have no other options. Well, what can we do to fix this? How can we make the number of convicts decrease and improve society as a whole? Prison rehabilitation programs. The Department of Justice notes that current types of rehabilitation programs include providing education opportunities, classes on current technology, or healthcare opportunities for drug abusers and people with mental health issues. If more prisons would create rehabilitation programs like these, convicts could get the help that they need to re-enter society regardless of how long their sentence is. Now you might be thinking, isn't that expensive? Won't that just increase taxes for people who aren't criminals? And the answer is no. The beauty of rehabilitation programs is that not all of them require a ton of money, since they include guidelines that cost next to nothing to execute. These ideas come in the form of allowing more visitations from friends and family during a sentence, easing up on strict punishments like solitary confinement, being mindful of LGBTQ inmates, pregnant women, and mentally challenged convicts, or simply providing information on what to do after you've served your time. With programs like these enacted in every state or federal prison, crime rates would drastically go down, along with poverty rates. To conclude, prison rehabilitation programs are something that can easily become achieved in every U.S. prison, while also having a drastic effect on society as a whole. With programs like these, the nation becomes a safer, easier, wealthier place to live in, and will cost nothing to the prison except for putting in a little effort or actually caring about people a little bit more. To get rehabilitation programs enacted, I urge you to contact the political members of your society and voice your thoughts on why these programs are necessary. In the democratic nation we live in, if enough people care, something can be done. It's time we stop treating people who could just as easily be us or our family like animals and start providing them with the help they need. Thank you.